It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
We're recording this week at the Buona in Skokie. Buona Skokie, 3754 West Toohey. I'm James Van Alstyne, and Buona turned your favorite plant-based Italian beefless sandwich into a bowl. It's complete with sweet peppers and the new vegan cheese. You can enjoy comfort by the bowlful this winter and cozy up with this twist on a classic today. And I'm going to cozy up with that twist on a classic today. And if you want to go to Buona and take some money, everyone's looking to save some money, take 10% off your online or app order by using my promo code, CARNE, C-A-R-N-E, 10. Help yourself. Try the beefless bowl or try the classic Italian beef. It is the stuff of legend.
I'm curious.
Speaking of the stuff of legend, that man right there.
I'm veggie curious. Veggie carne bowl.
Is that what it says on your dating profiles? You're veggie curious?
Yes.
So Urge Overkill.
Ladies, yes.
Entered the 1990s. Urge entered the 90s as one of Chicago's coolest, most exciting, riff-delivering bands. Urge Overkill was the band that other bands wanted to hang out with. They still do. But I mean, Urge Overkill opened up for Nirvana on the Nevermind tour. Pearl Jam on the Versus tour. I mean, holy shit.
We did.
And your songs were all over the radio. There was Sister Havana, Positive Bleeding. Of course, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, originally released on the Stull EP in 1992. By the way, I didn't have any Urge wear. The best I could do was a Stull t-shirt. Stull Cemetery.
Not bad.
Thank you.
I've never seen that before. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you very much. So yes, there was Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, which of course took off on Pulp Fiction. And then 1995 saw the release of Exit the Dragon. The wheels might have come off at that point a little bit. Still love the album. And then the next time we'd hear from Urge would be Rock Roll Submarine in 2011. Here we are in 2022, weeks away from We, the first album since then. As mentioned, I'm James Van Alstyne. That right there, Eddie King Roeser, the king from Urge Overkill.
A shock to most. The next record, yes.
Let's start there. What is the status of Urge Overkill in 2022?
Well, to make a long story short, the nature of digital recording is such that we had a lot of controversy, let's say, about the content of the last record, which was maybe 10 years ago. And we had a whole lot of material that I think there was some discussion about putting out a double record with Rock Roll Submarine. Nobody wanted something like that. I mean, we didn't have the momentum, the confidence. However, we did have a lot of good material that was promising, and basically, I'm not gonna, I have to say that a lot of this material, although it sounds to be a recording session that may have happened in the last 10 years, we took fragments from our outtakes and we sat on them, argued about them, and we took judicious care to put something together that was a document that perhaps existed in our own imaginations, if you will.
Listening
an
to this
urge that was, quantum mechanics based. I would say.
I mean, listening to this album, it doesn't sound like you missed a beat. Like when a band goes away for 10 or 11 years and you get a new album, you listen to it critically, like, well, can they still do it? Fuck, this album sounds great.
Well, I guess we're tinkerers, we're perfectionists, and what can I say? I've been a skeptic. I've been not certain that most new music, built on the digital platforms of today really needs to exist. And I guess we took our time and we took some demos that had some fire that we felt deserved to be heard. If you hear something good in this record, it has to do with really us taking sort of time and looking back into our piles and piles of demos. We did record a lot of ideas, and we took the skeletons of those ideas, and over a period of time since Rock Roll Submarine, it ended up being 12 years. Don't ask me how that happened. It felt more like 5 years, but it's the kind of thing where it needed to marinate for a while. And, we took basically demos and brought them into a studio or two and worked on and tried to capture what was the germination of certain ideas that didn't make it onto the last record. And we kind of turned into, perfectionists. As it turns out, it took a long time for us to agree. Nash and I had a lot of conflicts over what was going to be on the record, what was going to sound like. And I think it's a result of a long time, a 10-year sort of chess game about if there's going to be another Urge record, is it even going to happen? Should it happen? And if it happens, it's got to be it's got to be up to our standards.
For sure.
And people seem to think that it is. I'm really glad it is, because we've been in our own bubble for a while, and it's hard to tell what is meaningful musically. I mean, for us, I think with this record, we did end up maybe working with people who were, it's a different crew from Rock and Roll Submarine. We worked with a couple people who I think are a little more, sonically with us in the game. And I think that some of the details are this was something we wanted to do. We felt like Rock Sub was a continuation of Touch and Go, our earlier songs. It was very scrappy, and we wanted to really get back to, we wanted to raise it to another level, and I think we worked with a couple people that helped us do that. And I suppose the record's not out, but you'll hear the results. I mean,
well,
James,
it's
you
close.
heard it.
Well, it's close to coming out, and I don't want to keep you from eating. You got Red Bona. I got you the 10-inch beef, which is, that is Chicago with the Jardiniere. You say Jardiniere or Jardiniere?
Don't stop me, but I say Jardiniere.
Yeah, okay, that's a Chicago thing. But you actually were really wise about this. You got it dry, and normally it's delicious, baptized, just dripping. But you're in a car, and it's harder to eat that way. So I think the dry beef was the pro move.
Believe me, I get the I get a little dip if I'm eating inside.
If you can hose off
James,
right away,
it's your car. I mean, I don't want to.
I respect.
I don't want to
appreciate.
cause you any distress.
So we'll
if you don't mind me dining.
Oh, please. My children's favorite hobby is guessing what was eaten in the car the night before, because it always smells like whatever food was shared in the front seat.
Great.
Here.
Well, I'm.
So this is the Italian beefless I mentioned, made with seitan. It smells amazing. I did hot and sweet on both of ours.
It looks pretty legit.
It's yeah, right.
Yeah, it does.
And I love.
It looks like a point of beef.
Yeah.
To me.
I love the combination of hot and sweet. So you mentioned Nash Cato, the lean, suave, crooner, other vocal half of Overkill. While I miss Nash Cato, I realized I had dinner with Nash. It was probably 2000. It was at South by Southwest, a very long time ago. There was no way Nash would remember this. But I figured I had a dinner with Nash. It's only fair that I have dinner with just you.
Well, thank you.
And we'll just keep this going. Every 22 years, we'll rotate between you and Nash Cato for dinners.
I do appreciate the gesture.
Right.
This is very tasty.
Oh, of course. Of course. It's the best. All right, so let's talk about this new album, this long time coming new album. Let's start with some Eddie stuff. Let's start with The Necessary Evil.
So long. Yeah.
Is this a song about a toxic relationship? Where are you coming from on this?
I mean, I have to say that yes, being many years into adulthood, yes, I've come to believe that the nature of human relationships are such that I do believe you need to keep a few things to yourselves, and total honesty is a fantasy. I wouldn't say a toxic relationship, but to me, I think one is best to when I've been accused of being, too straightforward, saying whatever comes to my mind, and
I find this shocking.
I've sort of realized that, nobody needs to hear that. What I'm really thinking is best kept to myself, and some things, it's, yes, withholding some portion of the truth is in essence a necessary evil to existing in a relationship with another person. And maybe that's a little too on the nose for what the song is about, but that's kind of the deal. But this was a song that's it's not about a specific person or relationship, and co-written with Nash Cato, and we both are rocking the lyrics and the sentiment together. It's specific, but it's not specific,
That makes sense. That was one of the songs that we got to hear before the release of the album. Another one, How Sweet the Light, speaking of Nash Cato. Lyrically, I think it's a really well-crafted song lyrically, but then it does go to single entendre by the end of the song. It does go to, and you sing back up on this, or harmony, I want to scale your mountains, baby, then ski down your tits. It's wintertime. Is that just classic Nash Cato?
It's classic Nash, what can you say? I mean, I brought this up with Nash, and he was quite shocked when I said, this is obviously a song about your best friend Jim, who killed himself at the height of his career.
I didn't realize it was about him.
Jim from Material Issue.
Jim Ellison.
And Jim didn't realize, well, Nash didn't realize it was about him either, but I assumed it was. Look, to me, I think what we have here is an unconscious admission, from Nash about deciding not to go the way Jim did. Nash has had some really, I mean, this is no joke. He's had some, some really dark times, and it's his, when he says this is I'm walking away from my suicide.
He says
he's not joking.
He almost crossed over. I mean, this is heavy stuff.
And I when I brought up Jim and that your best friend killed himself at the height of his career, he sort of he kind of took a step or two back and was like, I didn't really realize that this song was about Jim, but it really, I think it really was, and I think he realized that he was in exactly the same place. And, some people decide to cross over and some don't. And what Nash was singing about is that he had to use the idea that he was in love with this woman to be to stay alive. Like, everything else sucks, and I'm heavily into this girl, and thus the skiing down the tip. It was as simple as that. And I think he was blown away by the idea that this is really, I think he'd buried that so deep that Jim, his best buddy, I mean, they were basically living together and partying night after night. That was buried so deep that Nash kind of decided to forget about Jim's suicide. But I think it could have been either guy.
Well, is Nash okay now?
He's very happy.
Great.
Yes.
That makes me happy to hear. He's just such a mega talented
dude. I
dude.
think he's gone, past that, and I don't want to go into the details about, Jim was going through such a rough patch, and it didn't have to end up that way, but I think it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm my best friend killed himself. Nash has totally buried that, I'm too tough to deal with that, but it came out in this song.
It's interesting how art
and
works,
I don't
isn't
think
it?
he realized it. I saw it, and he's like, well, this song's not about Jim. It's like, Nash, you kidding me? So, yeah, art is very interesting. And, look, I mean, Nash is still with us. He's doing fine. But I think it could have been either guy. And we were very shocked. And I think that was a major thing.
Oh, yeah.
For us to have Jim die. He was a real fan of. He was somebody that we thought would be around forever.
Jim Ellison was one of those first guys. I mean, I met him once or twice in my life, but he was one of those guys. The first people who I saw in the Chicago music landscape who was a performer. He was a star. He was one of the first people who let me know that you didn't have to play an arena to perform like you're at an arena. Mm-hmm. He just went for it every time he was on stage. Impressive guy. Let's talk about Nash from a positive spin. I Can't Stay Glad at You, which is one of the songs on We, which people will be able to hear at the end of the month. This may be, I think, one of Nash's finer vocal moments. What do you think, sitting on the other side of the studio?
I love it. I'm always impressed.
He really goes for it on this.
You know, Nash is not the image of Nash is that I'm some like sort of confident badass. You know, he really is, I think, a student of great music and great vocals. And I think he originally didn't see himself as a singer at all, and was given to experimentation, and I was always backing him 100% to say, look, you can do this. But he's really, I think, since our very first record, is somebody that needed to have, he's always was sort of like copying somebody else. Or on our very first record, he was sort of like, well, this is how Dave Van Ian would sing, or whatever. It's like people who can't really sing, but I've got to say that throughout the Urge's career, what you've got is somebody who's really presents as a kind of a crazy egomaniac, but he's not that person. He's actually a very shy, sensitive individual who in front of the mic comes up with some maddeningly great stuff. And it's really not really planned. It's like he's a fan of Sam Cooke. He's a fan of soul music, big time. And he I think was able to fly with some vocal techniques that, most people don't have the guts to go for.
100%.
And that's when you hear people like do that sort of cracking vocal or whatever he does, is like, that's guts, man.
It really is.
He's got guts.
One of the songs I'm anxious for people to hear on the album, which again comes out end of the month, it's called We. It's the French word "we." It's the logo from the Born magazine. I digress. One of the songs I'm really excited for people to hear is "A Prisoner's Dilemma." This, to me, is full of surprises. Every time I think I know where the song's going, it kind of goes in a different direction. This feels inventive. It feels fun. Nash gets a Steely Dan nod in there, or a reference in there with "Can't Buy a Thrill." It's this up-tempo, kind of unorthodox song structure song on the album.
Very bizarre. I've got to say, "Prisoner's Dilemma" was a song that Nash told me that he wrote one afternoon and recorded a demo of, and I didn't really understand like what it was about, but the record and its history is encapsulating the last 10 years of American culture. There was a time when this was really a heightened thing that was happening. The story of Amanda Knox. And Nash sat down one day and he had a crystallized vision of his commentary on it, and it was quite amazing. And I listened to he did a demo and had a sort of a 3-part opus about Amanda Knox, which was came quite it was done in his mind. I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? But what can I say? It's got a lot of great, entertaining, and funny elements to it. But it's one of those things. If you know Urge, and you know that on most records we have a sort of an opus that Nash presents. There's the Hen Ho, which is the story of a movie, a movie that never existed, but in a song. There's the song about Selena, which is on Exit the Dragon, about the singer who died.
Right.
And this is the opus on this record that sort of comes out of nowhere. That's sort of a historically realistic presentation of the Amanda Knox story.
I love knowing that.
It's like, what the fuck?
It's
man.
like, what the fuck?
It's seriously, what the fuck?
By the way, I got you a water. I don't know if I mentioned that, if you need to wash down some of the hot Jardinero. You mentioned Exit the Dragon. One of my favorite Urge songs, I don't think it's many other people's favorite Urge song list. Maybe it's uncommon. I love Take Me, and I love, there's something about when both you and Nash are front and center on a song.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always loved about Take Me. That happens again on this new album, Follow My Shadow. Again, people will get to hear it. We really get both of you. Oh, you need a napkin?
Well, we've got our vocals almost indistinguishable. It's like who's singing, who's who. Yeah, we've always been lucky enough to have the blend. Our vocals, our sounds are quite different, but when we blend them, I think that's a very astute comment. Follow My Shadow has that scary kind of blend of me and Nash, and it sounds like one person. And that does take place on Take Me. It's like it's a magic that isn't manufactured. It just seems to happen. So
I always thought Take Me was what would happen if Todd Rundgren wrote an Urge Overkill song. It's got that kind of utopia vibe. You could be like Todd Rundgren and Chasm Sultan.
We love Rundgren.
How can you not? Well, let's talk about Follow My Shadow just a little bit further. It has one of my favorite rhyme schemes because it's a forced rhyme scheme, and it's kind of hilarious. Come on, let's kill the dawn. We're gone. So strap on that night vision. You got to make the rhymes work. If the words aren't playing along, you got to make them fit.
That's forcing it a little bit. Night vision.
It cracked me up. And it works. Only you guys can pull that off.
Look, that is total hilarious, but that is total Nash. That is total hilaire.
The night vision.
Yeah. I'm like, are you sure? Look, hey. You know me. I'm a born skeptic, but Nash really. He's like, fuck yes.
He sells it.
Hey, man. He sells it.
The first thing we heard
Cannot deny it.
The first thing we heard from the album is your version of Freedom, which when I first heard it, it took me a second. I'm like, oh, that's the Wham song. Like, you made it your own. It wasn't conspicuously Wham from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to think back in the 1980s, maybe right before Jesus Urge Superstar, you guys weren't listening to George Michael and Wham. Maybe you missed that the first time around.
Yeah, I got to say that the Wham cover is... to be honest, it was one of those things where we were kind of breaking in the studio.
Uh-huh.
We went up to this place in Minnesota. My high school buddy had found these guys who were the offspring of Bobby V, if you will. His sons had this studio called Rock House, and they were pretty cool. They had some technical knowledge, and they had set things up in such a way that it was a big square box and very alike, the Abbey Road, the size and the sort of the room sound of Abbey Road studio, which was a big square box.
Mm-hmm.
And my pal from high school had been, for whatever reason, he's like the Zelig of Urge's career. We'd gone to this guy's farm outside my hometown of Minnesota to write some of our most crucial material. It's called the Albrecht Farm. It was crucial in, going back to Urge, going back to Jesus Urge Superstar. We were there just as a place to go to travel and, hang out. Anyway, he had a barn that we rehearsed in. And, he got to know these guys who were Bobby V's sons. We don't know much about Bobby V, but he's the guy who stepped in when Buddy Holly died and they needed somebody else to go on stage.
Right.
And that's what made his career. But they had a studio in St. Joseph, Minnesota, and we ended up recording there. And that was a sort of a lucky break because we kind of hit it off with them. And I guess, I don't know what my point was, but
you ended up recording a cover.
They were there, and we were sort of like, okay, what do we do? Let's just, that was the thing. We wanted to break the ice. And we had, as a complete joke, we had this Wham song that we didn't have the music for. Neither of us remembered the lyrics or the chord progression, but it was like a way to break in the studio. And we very easily recorded it, and it was a very effortless situation where we kind of had this rockin' track that, whatever the fuck, it's a George Michael penned tune, but the love that we always find to be crucial in recording sessions was there, where it was a team effort and everyone had a great time. So we honored our first break-in of the studio, where we did do most of the important work in taking the demos and all the tracks we had digitally, and we put them up on the computer at the Rock House there. And most of the record, or more than half of it, was completed there in St. Joseph, Minnesota. It's a godforsaken town outside of a godforsaken town called St. Cloud, Minnesota. But middle of winter, it's like, that's the Urge style. Nash is born in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I was born in Litchfield, Minnesota. We're actually from the great, western plains of our nation, and we felt it was it made sense, and I think some of that vibe came through for this record.
See, and I wondered, you put Freedom out first, knowing how big Girl You'll Be a Woman Soon was for the band. I mean, it opened doors that maybe weren't open before. I wondered if there had been any concern or trepidation about leading with a cover. Because certainly you don't want to be that band that does interesting covers of artists you wouldn't think of. I mean, you are a rock band. You are a guitar-heavy, harmony, Midwestern rock band. Was there any thought like, I don't know if we should lead with a cover, or was it just like, oh, fuck it, it's so weird and different, why not?
Well, I mean, you're exactly right. We took this group of songs, 12 songs, and trying to put them together in a logical sense. To be honest with you, it was the most logical place to put what had turned into sort of like an up-tempo rock song, you know? I mean, I wasn't... I was trepidatious about it, but the fact is, it's like, hey, we live in a continuum of music, and, you know, part of... I guess it was our decision to sort of say, you know what, this isn't some big sort of serious deal. This is like, we like to have fun. It's not some, like, you know, we recorded a Wham song. Fuck you.
Well, and the rules are different,
You know what
right?
I mean?
It's different from 1994, where singles out, Pulp Fiction's out, and that's the song you're married to for, you know, however long that is. You could put out Freedom, and then you put out 2 singles after that before the rules. They're whatever you want them to be right now, and you don't have to have that be your one statement. I'm answering the question I asked you for you, because...
And I think that was the deal. It's like, well, it makes sense. I mean, where else does that song make sense in the record? I don't know. But we felt like it needed to be on there. And I think it was a sort of a nudge, wink, wink as to, like, look, urges about fun and knowingness and being a fan of music. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it made sense at the time.
So, did you?
And, you know, that's obviously maybe even wouldn't have taken place if we hadn't been a band associated with another cover in our past. So it was a little bit of a fuck you, I guess.
I love it. Did you also write Snow in the godforsaken Minnesota town? It seems like if you're going to write a song called Snow, it'd be in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way,
That
that's
was the downer
another great Eddie song on this album. You need to hear it when the album comes out. This one's all you.
Yeah, it's a dark one, but hey, you know, we try to be multifaceted, and that's tough. I mean, most bands can benefit from being a little bit more focused, and with Urge, we just let our shit fly, and we deal with it later, you know. It's the most eclectic group of songs you can imagine, and this is you know, it's not the easiest thing to put together 12 songs that really have a lot of disparate. They're recorded at disparate times. They're, you know, Urge has always been a painfully eclectic band, and this is, you know, this is something we're proud of, but, you know, it doesn't bode well for commercial success. You know,
Although who knows what that even means now? I mean, really.
I mean, look, I love, like, Weezer. Basically, every song sounds the same. I wish we could be like those guys. They had a targeted, like, every song sounds basically 3 degrees from the other, and that's why they're successful. God love them, but we couldn't do that, and we're not them.
And I mean, this isn't even a question we need to try to answer on this podcast, but really, what does commercial success look like? It's very different from when Sister Havana was on the radio, or Girl You'll Be, or even The Break. I mean, things. The rules.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
I don't even know what the goals are now. It's not radio. Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think that. I don't know that much about it, but I've listened to sometimes you put on the local station XRT, and I feel like it's kind of a painful brew of what may be. Look, I don't want to say anything about.
I was going to say, unless they want to play something off your album, in which case they're fantastic.
And they do. Look, I really think it's a great. It's been great that our record isn't even out yet, and I think there are people who I'm surprised are coming out of the woodwork and saying, we really think this is cool.
Well, and sometimes you have to go away for a little bit.
And I'm very cool with it. Yeah.
And it's no shock to you and no surprise when I say that the landscape has been craving the rock. Straightforward, semi-ironic guitar rock is missing from the landscape right now. Like there's an urge-sized hole in the music landscape right now. We need you. You're coming to our rescue. You're giving medicine to the sick.
I certainly hope so.
I do want to mention, to finish your sandwich, we're at the Buona Beef.
I'm going to eat this goddamn sandwich.
Yes, you are.
It kills me.
I'm going to try to talk for a little while as you finish that off. We're at the Buona Beef in Skokie.
I'm not even trying.
I'm pretty impressed. That is a 10-inch Italian beef. He got it dry with giardiniera and sweet peppers. We're at the Buona in Skokie, the beefless bowl. I've been having the Italian beefless. It is so good, but they put it in a bowl as of this month, which is great for your New Year's resolutions. If you need to take a little break from meat, go for the beefless bowl. It's got vegan cheese. I got it with the hot giardiniera, which is really good, and sweet peppers, because you got to mix it up. You can get that right now. Use my promo code CARNE10, C-A-R.
But I've got to recommend this.
Oh, it's the classic, Eddie. I mean, come on. It's a meal fit for it's a meal fit for a king, is what it is.
If
Ladies
you will.
Eddie King, I will. Eddie
Thank
King
you
Roeser,
very
right there.
much. Thank you very much, sir.
So, again, the album We comes out at the end of the month. It is Urge. Urge is back. Can we talk a little bit about the history of Urge? Can we go back into the storybook, so to speak, if you will? Talking about the time when Material Issue was on stage and Urge was taking off. What do you remember? Because there was that period of time in the early 1990s where Chicago became ground zero. All eyes were on this city and its music scene, and specifically they were looking at bands like Material Issue. They were looking at Liz Phair. They were looking at the Smashing Pumpkins. They were looking at Urge Overkill. What do you remember from that period? Was it as bananas as it seemed on paper?
I guess people assumed that everybody was sort of that there was sort of a scene where everyone was having a great time, and we didn't really, except for Urge and Liz Phair, we did have I guess in Nash's situation, had quite an intimate relationship with those guys. But the Pumpkins, we didn't really hang out with them, and it was all sort of an atomized experience where we didn't. People assumed there was a scene more than there actually was, I think. And I think it was one of those things where the people in the city was getting some attention for the talent that was there, but it was very disparate, and I don't remember it as being like a kumbaya moment. Like all places, you'll ask the Seattle bands to the same thing. It's like, well, we didn't think there was a great scene going on. It's largely, created as it's sort of a myth that at a certain time, there were certain bands coming out, but I don't think we had a whole lot in common. In fact, Urge was sort of a statement against the kind of industrial.
You were like the anti-wax tracks fan?
We were very much not into the wax tracks aesthetic that was kind of maybe a humorless, unironic. We felt was more of a.
I think Al Jorgensen has a great sense of humor. Dark as hell.
He did, and but I don't know that was totally understood at the time.
Fair.
And that I think he was sort of, misunderstood as being like Mr. Serious, I Want to Die. Poor Nash. I mean, Al Jorgensen almost killed the guy. I don't want to go into that, but there were a lot of cross-pollination moments that didn't happen publicly. But I think it's cool that there was a magic moment that Chicago had, and I'm only imagining that rock music as seen as a Chicago thing, perhaps it'll never exist again in the same way, but I'm not gonna be too skeptical because we are still here.
That's it.
And there's still some great music happening here.
100%.
There always will be. I'm not gonna give up on that. Hell, we sure as hell got more serious roots than Los Angeles or New York. Come on.
Absolutely. When Saturation came out, did you have expectations? Did you think, well, this is it? This is going to be our Nevermind. This is going to be the one that takes us from Clark Street to Wilshire Boulevard.
I think Urge couldn't have been sort of more suspicious about we were on the label of the moment, and we were sort of told that I think we were led to believe that, and people at the label were absolutely positive that Urge was going to literally take over the world. And it turns out that bands like Stone Temple Pilots and who's that other horrible band from San Francisco? The Black Crowes wrongly took over. That people were stupid enough at that time to prefer bands like that to Urge Overkill. I mean, it was baffling. And the label was baffled as well. That wasn't their plan.
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
They didn't think what's the name of that band from San Francisco? That horrible guy with the dreadlocks.
I don't know.
Yeah. I just said the name.
Black Crowes. Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, Black Crowes. No, not Black Crowes. The other guys from... they were on Geffen too. I mean, it sort of was a bizarre thing where, the people speak. And I think Urge was a little bit, at the time, we were like 5 minutes too early.
Yeah.
And they fully believed that Urge was going to be the next band that took over. And it was it's not Mr. Mr. Crow, Mr. What is that fucking song?
It's Counting Crows.
That's right.
Yes, there is. I should have picked up on
That
that.
was
yeah.
the band that hit instead
That's right.
of
That
Urge.
was a Geffen act, and yep.
And that was the last thing they expected. It's like this stupid guy with dreadlocks, and all he did was shake him around in this video. It's like, well, I guess people like this. Not like. People loved it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That was massive.
And they were like, well, Urge, sorry. I guess people like this. And this was the thing that was the people speak. You know, it was too... We were 5 minutes too early, and people were into that whatever kind of bullshit San Francisco fakery that was. And it really fucked us.
It did. I will say I'm still mad at you guys from Saturation. Positive Bleeding, one of my favorite riffs, one of everyone's favorite Urge songs. It fucked up so many of my mixtapes because of the way the song ends. When you're going song to song, it's like, oh, I really want to put this on a mixtape, but they put all that stuff at the end. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very inconclusive. That's true. But hey, it was the time when there were a lot of rock records being sold, and we were there were certain expectations about Saturation that didn't come out because there were a couple other bands on this label that really hit it big. And Weezer was another band that just hit really huge at the time that we were, in the pipeline. And I love that band. I mean, they certainly deserve what they reaped. But that was another kind of unexpected, huge hit that Urge kind of was ready to step in. And, hey, what can you say? I'm not going to complain. We've been able to make our mark in the world. And
you said it. You're still here.
Yeah.
We're still talking about Urge Overkill. It's 2022. There's a new album. I want to briefly talk about Exit the Dragon because it's well documented that was an album that was fraught with trouble, conflict, issues. I still think the album sounds really good. Despite all odds, there's some great songs on there.
I appreciate what you say, and I have to say that the production, and we have always been steadfast in the opinion that in terms of artistic success and aesthetic success, Exit the Dragon was the record we wanted to make, and maybe America wasn't ready for it yet. The label really was hoping for another good time romp, a Saturation, and they were sort of shocked. Our best friends in the industry, our biggest fans, were sort of like. I remember, the drummer from the Smashing Pumpkins was like, you fucking idiots. Why didn't you just do... You guys didn't do Saturation 2, you'd be fucking sitting pretty right now. What the fuck were you thinking? It's like, dude, we do what we do. I'm sorry. And people were baffled, but I appreciate that. Because I think it was the document we needed to make, not to be over dramatic, but we're not a careerist band,
Right.
And I don't know if people. I'm not gonna accuse anybody else of being such, but we did what we felt was artistically right, and I think it was a very painful record done in a painful situation, and is you will find in the grooves some real tragedy there. That's real fucking sick stuff.
Well, and honestly, two of, I think, your best moments musically, Jaywalking in the Break. are both. I mean, those are classic King moments.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I as a band we were all fully behind what we put out, and I think it was it's the verities of the times where hey, the history of art is riddled with what's popular and what's going to last for eternity. I think I can feel good about all of the Urge records that were put out, including the one that's coming out in the latest month. I mean, we had some real battles about whether this was something that was going to live up to the Urge name. And I think we did, we did come up with something that I think is getting, I'm very happy that we're getting some great response from the new record.
It sounds like you guys never went away.
And
that's
and I really appreciate that. And I've heard that from enough people that it really means a lot to us.
I love it. All right, so the album is We, O-U-I. It'll be fully streamable and accessible, and also on vinyl, as an Urge Overkill really should be. There's something about an Urge record.
I would recommend those who can get a hold of the LP.
Right.
I
that's
did
the
hear
aesthetic
it on
right
LP.
there.
I heard it on the LP, and it really makes sense to me on the vinyl. I know a cliche to say such a thing, but it really makes sense when you hear it on those vinyl grooves. I was surprised at how much the sort of disparate project that was We, 10 years in the making, came together on the vinyl grooves. It really makes sense. So
Awesome. All right, Eddie King Roeser, thanks for joining me at Buona on the coldest night of the year so far. Would maybe end up being the coldest night of the year, period. It's bad out there.
But boy, did that sandwich warm me up.
Oh, yeah, the hot Chardonnay is going to toast you right up.
Where did it go?
Like magic, it disappeared. We is the new album. He's the king. Listen to the new Urge. Like I said, it's like they never went away. It's awesome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Eddie King Roeser.
Rock on, James.